Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Yes Prep Virtual College Fair. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm going to give our attendees a few seconds to stroll in. So in that time, I'm just going to go through a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use, as participants, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type questions to our presenters at any time. Just so you know, your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. So that Q&A feature is the only way to get your questions asked and answered. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website where you registered for this event. So with all that being said, without any further ado, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna pass it over to our first presenter from Pitzer College.
Awesome, thank you, and hello everybody. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. My name is Haley and I'm one of the assistant directors at Pitzer College. I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about Pitzer today. Let's go ahead and get started. Just to situate us in space, Pitzer is a small liberal arts college located in Claremont, California, really conveniently between downtown Los Angeles, the beach down in Orange County, Mount Baldy up to the north, and we have Joshua Tree National Park over to the east. Zooming in here to the city of Claremont, where Pitzer is located, we are part of the Claremont College Consortium, which is a group of 5 total small liberal arts colleges, all located within 1 square mile of space. So you'll see here these white borders. This represents 1 square mile, and there are 5 colleges within that square mile. Really condensed system. So Pitzer students are right next to Harvey Mudd, Scripps, Claremont McKenna, and Pomona College, who is here today to talk to you as well. Benefits of being a part of this system are that our students have access to, yes, classes at Pitzer, but also over 2,000 classes per semester across the other 4 Claremont colleges. Pitzer students can also major off campus, so you have the possibility to, say, major in geology over at Pomona if you want to, while still remaining a Pitzer student. And I think most importantly, there's also 7 dining halls across this consortium system. We also share some umbrella resources like our library and our campus safety, as well as our athletics programs. Usually when I talk about this system, the question that I first get is, all right, well, how does it work? How do you distinguish yourself? And that's a good question. Each of the Claremont colleges, the mission and values of that institution are really dependent on the decade in which it was founded. So Pitzer was founded in 1963 at the heart of the civil rights movement in the United States. Our goal when Pitzer was being founded was to create a place where young people who were thinking more critically about justice and equity for the first time really had a chance to come in, gain the skills, have access to the resources necessary to then go out and make that change out in the world, pushing our society to be more just and equitable. You'll see that in the modern day iteration through these 5 core values on the right here. These are really the bread and butter of everything that Pitzer does, these core values. So when it comes to understanding what makes a Pitzer student, if someone has ever told you to check out Pitzer, they probably think that you have a connection to these values. When I'm looking to admit students to Pitzer, I don't need you to have perfect grades, right? A's and B's are fine. The occasional C is not going to be the end of the world. Calc is hard. What instead I need you to have is a genuine, tangible connection to these core values right here, and to show that in your essays and your activities and have it corroborated in your recommendations from your teachers. So to talk about Pitzer really quickly through the lens of a couple of these core values, I'll start with interdisciplinary learning, since first and foremost, we are a place of higher education. I've listed out here some of our top majors. Environmental analysis is the most popular this year, but I want to highlight that the connective thread of these top majors is our first core value of interdisciplinary learning. These majors are really pulling from a variety of different fields. So for example, human biology students don't spend a whole lot of time looking through a microscope at a slide, right, in labs. Instead, human bio students are thinking critically about questions of, right, like how does early childhood trauma lead to rising cortisol levels in the blood, which lead to negative health impacts later? So how does the social impact the biological? How does the biological impact the social? Interdisciplinary learning, learning at the intersections, is really key to the academic experience at Pitzer. You can also help to see that through the fact that 25% of our students will double major. So they're really holding both of their interests in their hands instead of having to choose one path or another. And if you need time to explore and really figure out your particular interdisciplinary interests, you have until your junior year to declare your major at Pitzer. So you have 2 full years to decide. To focus on our next core value of intercultural understanding, we have 60+ study abroad programs, and 53% of our students will study abroad. We have these direct run programs, which are like mini satellite campuses of Pitzer in these places that I listed here. These programs are available to you at the same cost that Pitzer costs. So you don't need any extra money. Your financial aid travels with you to have this experience. You are expected to live in a homestay and also participate in an internship while you study abroad with Pitzer. Because of this focus on intercultural understanding, we really want you to embed in your local community and have that experience be genuine. Finally, our third core value that I wanted to highlight here is environmental sustainability. So Pitzer looks quite different than most college campuses out there, mostly because 75% of our landscaping is drought tolerant, native to California. Also, all of our initiatives that are really pushing our campus to be more sustainable are student-led, which connects to our fourth core value of student engagement. The banning of plastic straws and water bottles, having gone trailless in the dining hall, our student club that teaches climate justice curriculum to local elementary schoolers. Those are all students pushing Pitzer to be better and more sustainable place. So I want to highlight that. If these core values sound like something that you really connect with and you want in your college experience, I really recommend that you put Pitzer on your list. This really is what we're all about. And just to give a quick sense of our application process, we are test optional this year, but we also have been test optional since 2003. We don't think it's a great indicator of much of anything, except for maybe if your family can afford test prep or if you're a naturally gifted test taker. So we want to learn more about you and who you are as a person, and that's what we care about in this process. So I really recommend you go ahead and put Pitzer on your list if these core values speak to you. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. And we will now move on to Pomona College.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Really excited to be joining everyone today. My name is Michelle Gonzalez, and I'm here from Pomona College. So Pomona College, is one of the Claremont colleges along with Pitzer. So I won't talk a whole ton about our location since Haley already did that. We are located in Southern California. The only thing that I did want to add was in terms of how Pomona approached the consortium. Pomona was founded as a standalone institution in 1887. All of the other schools are founded intentionally to be a part of a consortium. So every school approaches it a little bit different. So it's important to understand how every school works differently with the consortium. Pomona itself, students starting their second semester, freshman year into the end of their sophomore year, they can take up to 1 class per semester through their colleges. Excuse me. Junior and senior year, students can take up to 2 classes per semester through their colleges. Like Haley mentioned, students can eat at the other schools. They can work with professors at the other schools. Every student has the ability to make the consortium experience tailored to them. You're essentially paying for 1 school and getting 4 schools for free. So it's up to you what you make of that experience. But it's a great resource to have. So you'll have the resource of a smaller institution, or you'll have a small college experience with the resources of a bigger institution. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, where you have 4 other neighboring schools that you can meet other students, you can engage. When you graduate from Pomona, you won't just have your Pomona College network, but you'll have your Claremont Colleges network. No one graduates from any other Claremonts not knowing or having a friend at the other schools, because it's very much a part of the experience. One of the things that I did want to highlight, at the bottom of the screen, there's a little icon that says MetroLink. That's really important because this is where our location really comes into play. Taking the MetroLink west, that will get you straight into downtown LA. And this is where a lot of our students will take advantage of the location, going out into the city to do research, to do internships, through public transportation, get all the way to the beach. Different ways for you to engage, but the MetroLink is definitely a resource that a lot of our students take advantage of, especially because first-year students are not allowed to have a car on campus, but there are ways to get around and there's lots to do in the area. The mountain, the beach, and the desert and the city are in all 4 directions about an hour from us. So definitely something that definitely will play a big role during your time at Pomona and at the Claremonts. Looking a little bit more specifically at Pomona, I already mentioned this. Pomona was founded in 1887. We have a student body of a little bit under 1,700 students, so definitely a small school. But the way that this will play out in your experience in terms of the student experience is that you're going to be part of a student, you're going to have a student experience where you're going to be surrounded by a highly diverse student population. Half of our students self-identify as domestic students of color. We have students represented from all 50 states and about 60 countries. So you're going to be at a place where you are going to be constantly challenged, but also constantly learning. One of our tour guides said that the diversity of Pomona is definitely the best and the hardest part. The best being that you're surrounded by so many people that you get to learn from, but the challenge being that you've probably never been in a position where you're surrounded by so many voices and perspectives. And we work really hard to be able to provide that experience, because this is where it's going to translate into the classroom, into the residential spaces, into the dining halls, where we want students to have meaningful experiences where they continue to learn from one another. We do require students to live on campus their first year. After that, students choose to live on campus. We do guarantee housing for 4 years, and 94% of our students live on campus all 4 years. These are all the factors that play into our retention rate and the type of experience that students are getting, both in terms of support, mentorship, making sure that students are being set up for success at Pomona. A little bit of the classroom. We are a small college, so our student to faculty ratio is 8:1. Our average class is about 15 students. With 80% of our faculty living within 5 miles of the college. What does this mean? So what this means is that you are going to have faculty that are going to mentor you, that are going to support you, that are going to tell you, you know, have you thought about doing research? Have you thought about going abroad? And really help you shape your 4 years at Pomona. The reality is that you're only with us for 4 years. So it's really about how do we set you up for what comes after Pomona? And our faculty really care about our student success. It's something that we pride ourselves a lot in, because they are going to get to know you personally in order to be able to help you, provide you with opportunities outside of the classroom to, again, help you learn and grow as a scholar at Pomona. There's a lot of opportunities for internships and research. Some of our majors do have this as a requirement. Our STEM majors do require research. Our public policy analysis does require internships. But beyond that, this is not a graduation requirement, but this is a research that students can take advantage of. For internships, there is funding during the school year and over the summer. During the school year, students can use their work study to do unpaid internships off campus. We will cover the cost of public transportation. Over the summer, there's also funding for unpaid or low-paid internships, and you can go anywhere in the country and the world. Domestically, the most popular locations being LA, New York, DC. Outside of the country, London and Geneva. For research, you can do research during the school year with professors, or over the summer, you can create your own research question. There's also funding for that as well. 2 things to highlight is that sometimes when students think about research, they say, well, I want to do research, I should go to a large research university. I would disagree. Those institutions do have a lot of research opportunities, but those are often reserved and prioritized for graduate students, doctoral students, not for undergraduate students. But when you're at a school where you're only dealing with undergraduate, all of those opportunities are available for you. Life after Pomona, 80% of our graduates go back within 10 years. This is like super fast to cover a lot. I do want to highlight that we are test optional this year, so definitely be on the lookout for that. All of this information is on the website. This is the one that I did want to highlight in terms of continuing to learn more about Pomona. There's a lot of virtual opportunities. So if you want to screenshot or watch the recording after, there's a lot to learn more about Pomona.
Thank you so much. So next, we will move on to Colorado College.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Morgan Hybert. I'm an assistant director of admission at Colorado College. And as a Colorado Springs native myself, I hope that you'll all agree that CC has a remarkable location in the heart of Colorado Springs. We're just a 10-minute walk from the center of downtown, or a 10-minute drive to over 300 miles of hiking and biking trails. Being nestled at the foot of the Rockies, we take advantage of many opportunities for students to connect with the natural world inside and outside of the classroom, which we'll touch on a little bit today. As a small institution of 2,200 undergraduates, we push our students to be intentionally adventurous, to think critically, and to think intentionally. Innovation is in our DNA. We were actually founded in the late 1800s by adventurous souls who sought to create a college on the plains, right in the shadow of Pikes Peak, and on the unceded lands of the Ute people. And so our history, we have maintained our focus on innovation, exemplified when we transformed our curriculum 50 years ago this fall, as our faculty implemented and imagined the block plan. So how do we do this? Students will take just one course at a time, and professors are teaching just one course at a time. Each of those classes is going to be limited to 25 students, but the average class size will be 16. So as a student, you'll get to know not only your peers and engage with them through your educational experience, but also through your professors. So in a typical year, there are 8 blocks for each semester, 4 in the fall and 4 in the spring. And each of those blocks will run for 3.5 weeks. So for 3.5 weeks, classes will typically run from Monday through Friday from 9 to noon, with occasional afternoons, though there is not a strict hour-to-hour schedule. At the end of the block, students will complete a research paper, take their final exam, complete a presentation or a performance, or whatever that kind of encompassing component is. And that class is then completed, grade and credit earned. Between each block, students will have a 4.5-day break where they get to venture into the mountains, explore the Southwest, or binge watch a Netflix series and do laundry. We immerse ourselves, and there's no rushing off to the next class since you're focusing on just one at a time, but rather there's that opportunity for focus, the ability to keep the conversation going, dive deeper, and continue rethinking. Our students get to, and quite frankly have to, embrace each and every course that they take. Pedagogically, this means that we're delivering a lot of material outside of the classroom and using that class time for collaboration, discussion, and co-creation of knowledge. My slide wants to advance here. There we go. So as you might imagine, the block plan offers a number of opportunities for faculty to design, many opportunities for off-campus fieldwork. So a few examples of what this might look like. In sociology, students explore the realities of globalization and immigration as the class hopscotches the US-Mexico border while engaging with local communities, citizens, and leaders. In film and new media, students enjoy the Colorado Documentary Project, where they learn about film production, spend time throughout the state of Colorado uncovering great stories, and then they draft a formal proposal, pitch their ideas, and receive feedback from our very own Rocky Mountain PBS before they end up shooting and editing their final films. In music, students explore American folk music by digging into the history and exploring origins, issues of identity and appropriation. At the end of that block, the class will load up into a CC bus and travel to the Durango Bluegrass Meltdown Festival to see the art form in action. And other field study often leads our faculty and students to other countries. Nearly 80% of our students will study abroad at least once before graduating, whether that's for a semester, a year, or for a 3.5-week block abroad as well. So there are a plethora of opportunities for students to pursue their passions beyond the curriculum. Our summer collaborative research program encourages students to engage with faculty and work closely to create original projects ranging from natural history, economics, psychology, or theater. And through this program, many of our students will publish as co-authors alongside their professors. Our students will also complete independent research projects, including more than 100 students who earn a Keller Venture Grant each year, which is $1,000 to pursue their own intellectual adventure. The college will provide living stipends to get students out into the world of work through internships, and these awards supported 100 domestic internships and over 15 international ones last summer alone. So our students participate in on-campus and off-campus at over 100 different clubs and organizations, whether that's Greek Life, Division I or Division III, varsity athletic, club and intramural programs. So even as students are focused on one academic subject at a time, their social and community lives are really rich and diverse. So CC is really committed to the innovative block schedule, which fuels an engaging curriculum and dynamic community. And so as you navigate your college searches and explore options of academic format, geography, community, life, and so on, I would encourage you to connect with our students, faculty, and staff, and let us know how we can assist you through your college search process. Thank you, and best of luck in your college search.
Great, thank you so much. We will now move on to Cornell College.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Kate Nash, and I'm an admissions representative for Cornell College, located in Mount Vernon, Iowa. Just some quick facts about us. We are just over 1,000 students and are right in between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, Cedar Rapids being the second largest city in Iowa. We are also 80% out of state for our student body, which means that we just kind of bring students from all over the country, not just the state of Iowa itself. Very similar to our colleagues over at Colorado College, we also operate on a block plan system. So this layout kind of shows you what it looks like. So our students actually just finished their first class of the year last week. So their second class started actually yesterday. So one class is already completed underneath their belt. They just started their second class. That being said, their first class, they no longer have to worry about it. Our schedule, similar to Colorado College, is usually Monday through Friday. Typical schedule is about 9 in the morning to 11. With a 2-hour break in between, and then 1 to 3 p.m. All of our classes are required to end at 3 o'clock. That's because as a college, we recognize that students are involved in a number of other activities. This could be anything from our Division III athletic teams to fine arts to over our 50 plus student organizations on campus, as well as student jobs. This kind of gives another layout of how that kind of works. So at a traditional semester school, you do have your classes kind of all at once. So you have a larger finals week that kind of goes on for, anything from 5 classes or 6 classes in a science lab, kind of having a really busy week like I myself did when I went to undergrad myself. I always had a really hectic finals week. For our students, they might have, a paper and a test going on, but it's only the one subject matter. Our classes are roughly about 15 students per class and actually cap off at 24 students now. Also, like Colorado College, our professors only have 1 class at a time as well. So I always caution my students that you can't really hide at Cornell. Professors probably know your name by the end of the second day. But just because they really want to know about you. You're more than just a name on a syllabus for them. They want to know where you're from, what you're interested in, and how they can help you and how you learn best to be a better student. We also have a new curriculum on campus this year, which has been very exciting. It basically ties in our first year seminar. That's the first class that all students are required to take on campus. So for the first year students, they're all in a similar class that caps off at about 15 other students, just so they can kind of get the lay of the land around campus. First years also are required to take a first year writing class to make sure they can write at a college level to prepare them for those upper level classes of study. Now we're also introducing a sophomore year seminar that all sophomore students will take, basically because this new curriculum is centered around out of the classroom studies. So now instead of just kind of pushing students to get outside the classroom for internships and research and study abroad and all that good stuff, we're actually requiring it for them to graduate. And since we're requiring it for them to graduate, that means that we're providing it for students in any different types of ways that we can. This is because we know that, employers and graduate schools are really starting to look at these outside the classroom experiences when they're looking to either admit students for the upper level program or to offer them a job post-graduation. So we want to provide that to make sure that students have the best resume possible to get that experience and gain that final step after their degree. Going into that, this kind of ties in with your success here at Cornell, looking at the Venn diagram. So you're not just kind of going out alone. Outside of that first year seminar, you have that professor obviously teaching that class. That's going to point out resources for you on campus. Paired with that professor, there's also a staff member on campus. So in the past, that's been one of my admissions colleagues. It's been the assistant baseball coach. It's just another adult staff member on campus you can go to ask questions. They're going to make sure you know where to go if you need help in your math class, if you need other tutoring, if you want individualized tutoring, when the slowest lines are for the coffee line in that commons. So anything like that, just to make sure you kind of know what's going on. It also pairs with your academic advisor. So that's going to be the person helping you pick your classes, not only your first year, but for the rest of your time at Cornell. Academic advisors are also professors at Cornell, so they kind of know what classes are best for every single major to take and what maybe might be the best time to take those as well. Our students also are not required to pick a major until halfway through their sophomore year. So some students come in thinking they want to do one thing, then they take a class in that subject area and realize they absolutely hate it, so they switch to something else. Or sometimes they come in having no idea what they want to take, so they take some elective credits or some required classes and kind of get a feel for the subject they actually might like. So that year and a half to decide your major gives them the time and flexibility to do so. Lastly, there's an upperclassman student mentor that students are assigned. This is going to be a junior or senior, so a student that's been at Cornell for a while. They know how things work. They're really just someone closer in your age to kind of help guide you. Sometimes students want to ask questions to someone they can relate to more, which would be a student like them versus a professor or a staff member. Maybe that upperclassman student mentor took a chemistry class last year that you have next block, and they have study tips or old flashcards they think could help you out. So, you know, maybe you're feeling homesick and they are also from further away and can explain how they kind of dealt with that. So just another support system who's kind of closer in your age and can relate to you a little bit more. When it comes to paying for college, a majority of our students will receive a merit-based scholarship based on their application. Some things that students can do right now is use our net price calculator. So that's on our website, which is cornellcollege.edu. You can click on that, mess around with it, put in your own personal information. You get a rough estimate of what you'd be paying for. Next step would be to apply to Cornell after that. And we're on the Cornell application on our website or the Common App. We are also test optional and have been test optional for about 5 years. There's also no fee to apply. For more information about that, you can also go on our website too, but majority of students will receive that scholarship first, then receive the FAFSA after they fill that out, and then get their financial aid package. For any further questions, you can find your specific admissions rep on our website based on location. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you. And we will now move on to Willamette University.
Awesome, thank you so much. Well, first off, my name is Stephanie Chi. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm one of the admissions counselors at Willamette University. Today I'll do a very brief overview of Willamette and highlight some parts of our campus. So we were founded in 1842 and we're located in Salem, Oregon. We are the oldest higher education institution in the West. We were here before Oregon, California, and Washington were even considered states. So it's pretty neat to see the city of Salem actually grow around our campus. We are a 4-year private liberal arts institution with an undergraduate focus. However, we're supported by 3 professional schools, the College of Law, Atkinson's Graduate School of Management, and the Claremont School of Theology. We are also one of the 40 colleges that change lives. If you haven't heard of Colleges That Change Lives, it's a book that really highlights colleges and universities that fly under the radar. Willamette University is honored to have this distinction because we are one of the 40 schools chosen across the nation to have transformative learning experiences for students. Those transformative learning experiences look like real life opportunities that you as a student can lead or be directed, which gives you the opportunity to really set forth in creating your own educational path. There have been 4 variations of this book, and Willamette University has appeared in each iteration. Again, we're undergraduate focused, so we have about over 1,500 undergraduate students. We have 52 academic programs ranging from performing arts to hard sciences, and we actually have the opportunity for you to also design your own major if you're interested in something specific that isn't offered at Willamette University. Our student to faculty ratio is 11:1, and so average class size will be about 18. Our small class sizes at Willamette will really provide you the opportunity as a student to build really strong relationship with faculty and peers. We have a beautiful 54-year-old partnership with Tokyo International University, which was developed right after World War II. Our long history with Tokyo International University really showed back then that Willamette University was committed to providing global opportunities for our students to be educated, engaged, and immersing themselves in different cultures. These opportunities also have expanded our study abroad opportunities for students as well. We have over 66 study abroad partnerships that you as a student can participate in. In fact, about 40% of our students study abroad, which is amazing. We are exactly 76 feet away from the state capitol building. In fact, We know this because 2 of our staff members actually stood across the street with a measuring tape to give you the exact measurements. But we are the only nation to be that close in proximity to a state capitol building. The location is prime because it really provides you as a student to find those hands-on learning opportunities. In fact, 80% of the interns at the State Capitol building are Willamette students, ranging from economic majors, political science, psychology, sociology, theater. So it's really broad. And on the other side of the street from us is this Salem State Hospital building, which is ranked 3rd in the state, which gives you also another opportunity if you're interested in the pre-health track or any of the hard sciences to also have great internship opportunities or network with folks within that field. We have over 100 clubs and organizations on campus that you can participate in. We also have 19 NCAA varsity or Division III varsity sports. Lastly, we have a 305-acre forest called Xena. This 305-acre forest is really closely tied to our sustainability efforts and initiatives at Willamette University. It's really interesting because we're about 4 blocks from the downtown Salem area, and then 10 miles you have this natural forest. So if you don't really know if you want this urban or rural college environment, you kind of get the best of both worlds here at Willamette University. We are on the Common App and it's live, so if you're interested and ready to feel free to submit your start and submit your application. Do make note of our deadlines. We have no application fee, no supplemental essays, and we are test optional. We have been test optional for the past 3 years. So what that means is you can choose to submit or not submit your SAT scores in your application. Our review process is holistic. So we look at who you are as an individual, everything about you. We know you're more than a GPA score or a standardized test score. So we look at, what you're involved in, the courses you're taking based on the offerings of your high school, any after school programs, the letters of recommendations that you submit, and of course your essay. You can also submit a professional resume through the Common App, as well as any additional letters of recommendation. I believe on the Common App you can submit up to 10. I highly encourage you to not do that. 3 is a good rule of thumb. 1 from a counselor, a core teacher, and then again, if you're involved in anything outside of their classes, like extracurricular activities, off-campus jobs, or part-time jobs, community service, and you have a supervisor for that, that's another great person to write a letter of recommendation. We also highly encourage you to sign up for an interview with us. It's not required, but the interview allows me as a admissions counselor or any of our admissions counselors to get to know you better based on a little bit more of what we're reading from your Common application. For financial aid, we have a merit-based scholarship that awards up to $30,000 a year and is renewable each year. When you apply to Willamette, you're automatically considered for our merit-based scholarship, so there's no separate application for that. We also have our competitive scholarships and all of these different programs that do have a separate application fee. So if you're interested in those, feel free to take a look on our website and look at the requirements and the application deadlines for those. You do not have to major in any of these programs to apply. So if you have history or interest, please apply. We are now offering a lot of different virtual offerings for prospective students, like information sessions or interviews or campus tours. So take a look on our website and there's my contact information.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And lastly, we will move to Lewis and Clark College.
Great. Good morning, everybody. My name is Alvaro Torres, and I have the pleasure of being here with y'all to talk a little bit more about Lewis and Clark and its offerings. As we talk about Lewis and Clark, I will, one second, excuse me. I'll go ahead and talk about what our campus has to offer. So Lewis and Clark is a private institution with a public conscience and a residential campus with a global reach. The student and faculty pursue new ways of knowing, and this combines traditional liberal arts and pioneering collaboration. Our students represent the next generation of thinkers. They're unafraid to discard conventional thinking. As you can tell through this picture, you're going to be inspired by the over 135 acres of woods that we have. It almost looks like we are in a forest in our campus. And we are committed to interdisciplinary, experimental, and also rigorous academics in order to be key for your academic success. And Lewis and Clark is where agile minds come to learn, to work together, and to explore. Now, digging into our academics a little bit, I mentioned that we're a small private liberal arts school, and we have a little over 2,000 students now on campus. Our average class sizes are about 17 students, so this makes it pretty easy for you to connect to your peers, to your professors, and to any support system that you need on campus, because really that is the important part of your development on campus. We have 29 majors, 31 minors, so plenty of areas for you to explore and to choose from. And we can proudly say that our classes are very interdisciplinary. So there is going to be overlap with what you learn in a, let's say, biology class and a psychology class, just to give a quick example there. Whenever you're really thinking about the liberal arts and what are the benefits of that trajectory and that type of education, you're thinking about the skills that you're going to develop. You're going to develop strong communication skills. You're going to develop strong critical thinking skills and innovation skills. So you're going to be able to apply these things to different areas of the workforce. And ultimately, that is what employers are looking for. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about what is at the bottom of our PowerPoint. The 456 commitment is actually a really neat initiative that we're leading into this year and on. So Lewis and Clark is actually a combination of 3 different campuses. The first one being our undergraduate campus, which I'm currently representing today. But we also have a campus of graduate education and counseling graduate school. And then we also have a law campus. So whenever you're thinking about these pre-professional routes, what you're gonna do after Lewis and Clark undergrad, those are really good opportunities to consider. The 4 means that in 4 years, you're gonna graduate from Lewis and Clark, and that's our commitment to you. The 5 meaning that in 5 years, you can head over to our Graduate School of Education and Counseling and receive not only your bachelor's degree, but also your master's in teaching. So if you want that route into the classroom with as much knowledge as possible, highly encourage you to consider that pathway. And the 6th commitment is a split of 3 years. So within 3 years, you will finish at our undergraduate campus, receiving your bachelor's of arts in whatever area of study you would like. And then you would move on into our law campus in order to receive your JD. So this is a 6-year route. Typically, students are looking at anything between 7 years and beyond. We're going ahead and committing to that shortened time and that attention for you to graduate from our law school as well. So neat opportunities to consider. Community is really important, especially whenever you're thinking about going away from home of Texas and going on the other side of the country in Portland, Oregon, where we're located. So we have 47 states represented on our campus. We have 30% of our students identifying as students of color and 11% of our students from outside of the US, so international students. So we can proudly say that our campus has very diverse perspectives and ideas when it comes to the classroom. So students are coming from all walks of life and bringing that into their learning. And that's important to consider because that is going to be a challenge that you're going to experience so you can widen your scope of the world globally. And then lastly, I'll move on into activities that students are doing on campus. So we have over 110 led clubs and sports on campus. So you can find an area of choice that really calls to you. And this ranges from affinity groups where you're focusing more on social justice issues, identity, all the way over to more quirky stuff, let's say the Nintendo Club, where on a Wednesday evening, you're gonna join in with friends and you're gonna play some video games. So definitely a space for all students. We are a Division III school, so if you wanna make sports a part of your college experience, you can definitely do that through our 19 varsity sports and just experience that as well. As I mentioned, Portland is another big draw to us. We are 6 miles away from downtown Portland. So you have the ability to go in and out of town through our free Pioneer Express. I'm rushing a little bit here just in terms of time. We do have the Pacific Northwest that students are pretty excited about. So if you want to trade in Interstate 59 and 45 with mountains and rivers, that is also an opportunity through College Outdoors. So study abroad on campus is also a big draw. Students are participating in these programs at a high rate, and that is because we offer a wide variety of programs. We have over 35 to offer, and they happen actually outside of Western Europe. And it looks like I am almost out of time, so I'm going to wrap my conversation up. If you would like to apply to Lewis and Clark, we are on the Common App. We do not have a application fee, and here are more details. I'll be hanging out in the chat if anyone has any questions. Thank you.
All righty, thank you everyone. So to our attendees today, I want to say thank you for joining us. If you do have any questions, we have about 5 minutes left, so feel free to put them in the Q&A feature. If not, you are more than welcome to leave. And when you do leave and you close out of the window, there will be a very quick 4-question survey. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, we'd really appreciate any feedback you guys have so we can continue to improve our programs. And I wanted to remind you guys again that this recording will be available in about a week on the website where you guys signed up. So thank you again for taking the time to visit us today. And if you have any questions, again, we have about 4 minutes, so please put them in the Q&A chat for our panelists. Thank you. And to our panelists, if it's a quick question and you just want to unmute yourself and answer it out loud, feel free to do that. It might be easier than typing it out. Just going to give a 2-minute warning. So if you have any questions, feel free to get them in. If not, again, feel free to head out. And if you could fill out that survey, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Alrighty, it doesn't look like there are any more questions, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the session. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you to our panelists and to our attendees. Have a great day.